Hello my loves, what's up? What's going on? Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is the zodiac sign predictions for the month of May. This is going to be talking about your guys' astrology for the month of May. We're going to be talking in terms of tropical astrology, and be sure to check your guys' sun, moon, and rising sign if you know those, because that'll give you an all-encompassing horoscope for the month of May astrologically for you guys. We're going to be looking at a few of the major transits that are happening in the month of May. I've picked out the ones that I find are the most important per se for the month of May for you guys. So this is going to be closing out a whole entire chapter for us, and it's closing it out with a bang at the end of the month with the full moon in Sagittarius. It's the full moon eclipse in Sagittarius at the end of the month on May 26th, and that's going to be heavily just closing out an old chapter for us and helping us realize some really big profound things. And then we do also have Mercury and Venus conjunct the North Node while all of this is happening, and it's just like, it's a lot. There's a lot of energy happening, and it's helping us kind of move forward in this new direction so that we can move forward into the next chapter for ourselves. So I'm stoked about this astrology. We're going to be talking about it. We're going to bring a bunch of focus onto the nodes, even though that's not usually something that I talk about in a monthly horoscope, but just since it's a major aspect in my opinion during the month of May, we're going to be talking about it. So with that being said, if you guys are stoked about this video, then without further ado, let's hop right into it. All right, so my Aries babies, let's talk about you guys. So during the month of May, we have Mercury and Venus moving into the sign of Gemini, which is going to be conjuncting the North Node. This is moving into your guys' third house of like quick ideas. This is an area of creativity. This is an area of networking. So I wouldn't be surprised if some new friendships or new important connections are going to come into your life during the beginning of May. This even could happen at the end of May for some of you guys, but I wouldn't be surprised if some sort of important connection or something sort of happens that allows you guys to move forward on a big project that you guys have been working on, especially since the South Node has been in your guys' 9th house. I feel like one of the reasons why you guys might have had this like push and pull for the past year, this is helping you guys realize that the reason why certain big goals have been maybe harder to attain is because you have to stop looking at the really big picture. You guys, Aries, are really good at like coming up with an idea and finding something you want to do. You guys are so passionate, right? But with the South Node being in the 9th house, you guys are like oriented. You guys are like masters at coming up with really big pictures of things, really big ideas, and you guys have a huge imagination. But the North Node is pulling you guys towards that third house. The North Node has been pulling you guys towards how are we going to execute this? And also realizing that maybe we don't know everything. This is going back to the drawing board of like letting go of being a teacher, letting go of like needing to know everything, and falling into the space of like, I'm open and ready to learn. I am ready to actually calculate how I'm going to make these goals happen. Because the 9th house, that Sagittarius energy where the South Node is for you guys, this is the energy of, being so good at coming up with an imaginative idea, being so good at like picturing your future. But then you're like, how do I get there? Because you're starting from point A and you're trying to jump to point B, and it can be a little bit difficult. So for you guys, what May is bringing for you guys, the beautiful energy of May is helping you guys finally realize how to attain your big goals. That's what's going to be coming to you guys. Mercury with the ideas is flowing right into that third house for you guys. It's coming right over there. So I think ideas will be flowing, and the how-to is going to be made a lot clearer in the month of May. How do you attain? How do you go from point A to point B? Whatever goal or dream that you guys have had in mind, you are now finding the pathway to attaining that in the month of May. That Mercury is bringing in that beautiful energy. Venus is bringing in the energy of like, okay, now we feel confident, like we have what we need. You guys also might be inspired to like change up something about yourself. You guys might be on a moment of like reinvention, or a reinvention of the people that you surround yourself with, and realizing that if you want to attain your goals, if you want to get to your goals, we need to start being open to learning new things. We need to go back to the beginning a little bit so that we can learn something new, because I feel like you guys are on this transition of maybe you're like, whatever you've been doing in the past, your old self, you've mastered that. You've mastered the old self. But in order to jump to your new ideas, in order to jump to the new you that you want to be, we have to kind of start from square one. And I feel like you guys don't really like doing that, Aries. Like, you guys enjoy beginning projects. You guys are Aries. You guys enjoy jumping into new things. But this is about realizing that, yep, we cannot jump immediately from point A to point B. it's gonna take little baby steps to get there because there's space in between that, right? You guys are really quick to wanting to jump into something and be fully immersed into it and be a master of it already. Aries is like, you guys have so much passion and you guys want to be at the next stage of your life already, but what you're not realizing is that it's gonna take little baby steps. And May is the month of realizing that you can attain that big goal, you can attain whatever you guys have been dreaming of. It is possible, but it takes baby steps to get there. You cannot jump from the bottom of a mountain to the top of a mountain in one jump. It's impossible. And you guys, Aries, are like, you're wanting to do that, and you guys kind of get disappointed and you guys quit your goals when you realize that, oh, I'm starting here, and if I take one step, I'm not nowhere near the top of the mountain. So it must mean that I'm a failure. It must mean that, I won't ever make it. What the month of May is showing you is that you don't need to know the entire big picture in order to take the first step. You don't need to see the entire trail in front of you that leads to the top in order to begin walking on that trail, right? So that's what the month of May is showing you. The month of May is showing you, let's just start walking. Let's just start going for it. And the full moon lunar eclipse that's happening at the end of the month, this is going to be showing you guys and helping you guys let go of needing it to be perfect right away. It's helping you guys let go of needing to be at the top of the mountain after the first step. You guys are finally realizing that it's going to take a little bit of time, and then you guys are finally like, okay, I got this, I can do this. And it's going to be heavily influenced by the people that you surround yourself by, the connections that you make, because this is what's going to help inspire you and help lead you to those baby steps that are taking you to the right direction. This could also deal with making certain moves in your life as well, because the third house can be like quick, like short travel, some short distances. So there could be an influence of that happening in the month of May for you guys, especially with Mercury moving over there for you guys, and also with Venus. You guys might get inspired for a quick little reinvention of yourself and realizing that it's going to take a little bit of time, but you are going to get there, okay? Let go of needing to know the big picture right away and realize that just because you don't see the full picture just yet doesn't mean you cannot start walking in that direction. You have your idea, let's just start moving towards it. That's what the month of May is going to be all about for you guys. We do also have Jupiter moving into Pisces, and this is moving into your guys' 12th house. So this is going to be an expansion of your ideas, an expansion of your creativity. Jupiter moving over here is kind of like a huge spiritual awakening as well. So it's kind of realizing where you faltered in the past. This is like when we start to see our shadow self and how we were actually standing in our own way the entire time. So Jupiter moving over here is an expansion of that area. So you're going to realize these things, but this is going to be the key to helping you guys move forward on whatever it is that you guys have been thinking of, whatever it is that you guys have been planning, whatever it is that you guys have embarked on. Now you're going to be expanding into why it didn't work out before. You're going to be realizing and doing a lot of shadow work on how you've been standing in your own way. And you're going to be realizing what's right for you. There's going to be a new idea of what's right for you. Okay, and this is a huge dreamy sort of area as well. So your imagination is going to be running wild, especially with this focus and this big energy moving you into that third house. And soon we're going to be transiting into the second house for you guys. The North Node is going to be moving there for you guys really shortly. And this is a time of abundance, okay? So if you've been waiting for your abundance to happen, you guys are on the verge of it. It is coming your way. We're moving to it very shortly. But right now, the month of May is finishing out the proper connections that you guys need to make, finishing out those plans that you guys have wanted, and finally starting to realize and let go of what's been holding you back, which has been probably more self-inflicted than anything, is what we're going to be realizing. So that is for you guys. There's a whole new path coming, and you guys have been probably embarking on this new path for the past year, since the North Node has been in this area for the past year, but the month of May is finally finalizing that energy, okay? We're finally finalizing the energy of all that we've been planning and all that we've been putting together. And yes, we're starting at that square one. We're learning brand new things because we've almost started a new venture this past year. And the month of May is finally like solidifying this for you guys. So that's what's happening for you guys, my Aries babies. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below if you guys want to see more videos like this. And if so, I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. All right, so my Taurus babies, let's talk about your month of May. So for you guys, we have North Node that's been sitting in your guys' second house for the past year, and we have South Node in the 8th house. So this whole past year, you guys have been letting go of an old version of yourself and stepping into where you really want to root yourself. And this has been like a huge deciding sort of energy for you guys, because you guys, the North Node is in Gemini in your second house. So this is moving you towards these new ideas that you're getting about where you want to root yourself, and really starting to think and plan about where you want to be, where you want to go, the type of people that you want to hang out with, who you want to be around, and what you really want to solidify in your life. Because we do have Sagittarius, South Node in your guys' 8th house. It's been here for a year. And this is kind of like whenever there's change, you guys like to run from it. You know, usually Tauruses, they don't like to change very much. They're a little bit more like stable, right? But for you guys with Sagittarius there in the 8th house, it's like anytime that change presents itself, it's kind of like, ooh, do I really want to do that? I don't really know. But I also feel like for you guys, Taurus, you guys have been sort of unstable for the entire past year. You guys have been questioning where you want to root yourself, where you really want to be, where you want to go, what your life is going to look like, with North Node being in the 2nd. So this is like finding out where you really belong and letting go of the old self, which is the 8th house, because you guys have been through a lot. You guys have been through a lot of change this past year, especially with South Node being over there. It's just like change has been your second nature for the past year, although it's not usually like you to be that way, because anytime change usually presents itself, it's like, nope. But for you guys, change has been sort of like the forefront of this past year, while you guys have been trying to find out where you want to find your permanency, where you guys actually desire to root yourselves, right? And so the eclipse that's happening at the end of May, this is going to bring in a lot of like closing out that old chapter of your life, closing out who you used to be this past year. And I think that you guys are finally realizing, you know, the old things that you guys were tied to, because the 8th house is the endings and beginnings. So what do you really want to end? What are cycles that you really want to end, that you don't want to hang on to anymore? And these are cycles that have kept you locked into your old self, right? Because your old self is where the 8th house is. The 8th house is like shedding skin, right? And with the South Node over there in the shedding skin area, the South Node is telling you guys that it's time to finally let go of those things. It's like taking away the pacifier from a baby. It's like you guys are finally ready to just like let go of that. It's like closing that out. And you guys have been doing this for the past year. You've been finally letting go of the pacifier. You've been finally like letting go of the things that you used to rely on, that you know you've outgrown. You've outgrown so much this past year, Taurus. It's wild. It's crazy. And the North Node being in your second house, this is a year, and this whole year is about finding your abundance, bringing in more abundance for you. And then shortly, the North Node is actually going to be moving into your sign, into the 1st house. And this is going to be where you guys will really start to self-define yourself. But this is going to be after May, right? But May is finally closing out this old chapter of you guys trying to find your roots, finding your abundance, finding where you can feel comfortable, because that's also the 2nd house as well, right? You guys have been really picky this last year. You guys have been really hard on yourselves. You've probably been super picky about where you want to be, the job that you want to have. You've probably been super picky about your job. You've probably been super picky about where you think that you want to plant yourself, right? And we also have Mercury and Venus coming into conjunct that North Node at the beginning of the month. And this is going to be where you guys might be making a big purchase with Venus coming here for one. And this is going to happen around, I believe, May 8th. Let me see. Yes, May 8th, Venus moves into Gemini, okay? And so this is going to be moving into your 2nd house. So this is going to be where you guys might make some really quick new ideas. You guys might act on some new things. This could be a way of increasing your abundance. This could be a way of bringing in more material items into your life. So some sort of big purchase might be made around this time that can help you guys move forward in some sort of way. This could also be some sort of reinvention of yourself as well. And then also with Mercury coming in here as well, this is also changing up maybe who you hang around with, because I feel like some of you guys have been feeling like, I don't really vibe with the same old social crowd that I used to, right? So this is happening all in Gemini, which is our social life. This is also the way we mentally think. So you guys might be also changing around the way that you used to be really harsh on yourself. Maybe you guys held yourself to a really high standard, because the 2nd house is, you know, our material life, the way that we view ourselves, our physical attitude about ourselves. You guys might get inspired to change something very physical about yourself in the month of May. So maybe you guys are going to join a workout group, right? Maybe you guys are like, I want to finally start to focus on my my external aesthetic or my external beauty, and I want to, you know, really take care of myself by eating healthy, by working out, by, you know, doing certain things for yourself that help you feel good. So the month of May is also going to bring a little bit of that energy with Venus coming into your guys' second house as well. You guys might get inspired to redecorate, buy new clothes and things like that, because that's also Venus in the second house for you guys. You guys have all these new ideas that are coming to you guys during the month of May. And then we do also have Jupiter moving into Pisces halfway through the month of May, and this is going to be affecting your guys' 11th house. And Jupiter moving into the 11th house, this is expanding your creativity, your mental attitudes towards the people and people that you hang out with and the footprint that you want to leave behind on the world. So Jupiter moving into the 11th house is a great time to expand on friendships. This is also a great time to expand socially. So social media could be something that expands for some of you guys, depending on the other aspects that are happening in your chart at this time. But Jupiter moving over here can be where we finally get the recognition that we deserve, when we finally feel mentally like we are more open, we have mentally more freedom than we've ever had before, especially since Jupiter's in Pisces. So it's adding this sort of very like serene, sort of intuitive energy over the 11th house. So we're expanding ourselves mentally. We're feeling a bit more connected with the rest of the world, whereas before it's been transiting your guys' 12th house, right? And so the fact that it's moving into your guys' 11th house, we're finally like, oh, we no longer feel like we're expanding so much internally. We finally feel like we are ready to expand in the world. We finally feel like we're more connected to people than we have been before, because maybe we've been living our life very internally for the past little bit. Whereas before, it was moving from the 10th house, where there was a big focus on your guys' career. This was expanding your guys' career like no other. This past year has probably been a huge career focus for you guys, where it's bringing in more abundance and things like that. But the fact that it's moving into the 11th house now, this is about how you guys plan on leaving your footprint on this world. How do you want to impact the world, right? So this is going to be bringing the focus towards more of that idea rather than the career and climbing the ladder type of thing that we've been doing for the past little bit. Now Jupiter is moving into your guys' 11th, which is focusing a lot more on the impact that you guys want to leave on this planet, the impact that you want to have on the world, right? And again, I just want to reiterate that full moon eclipse that's happening at the end of the month, that's happening in your guys' 8th house. That is literally closing out that old chapter. That is the final goodbye of your old self. That is shedding the final skin on the old self. And full moons deal with closing out phases, and the 8th house deals with closing out phases and shedding old skin. So this is like a massive time of finally being like, bye. And since it has that Sagittarius energy with it, this is literally like, just like, it's like we shoved our old skin out the window. It's gone. It's bye. Like, you guys are shifting so majorly by the end of the month. So hope you guys enjoyed this reading, my Taurus babies. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below if you guys want to see more videos like this. And if so, I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. All right, so my Gemini babies. So for the last year, you guys have had North Node transiting your guys' first house, with the South Node transiting your guys' 7th house, of course, because the North Node's in Gemini right now. South Node is in Sagittarius. So for you guys, the past year has been you guys focusing heavily on your own self-identity and letting go of the need to conform yourselves towards other people, because as we know, Gemini, there is this tendency to flip-flop who you are based on who you're hanging out with, right? And so with South Node in the 7th house, that's what you fall back on. That is the tactic that you always seem to fall back on. And you sort of shift yourself, you shift your identity, you shift your thinking, and sometimes you tend to people please based on who you're around, because, and it's not like being inauthentic in any way, because I noticed with Gemini, I'm a Gemini as well, and I noticed with Gemini, it's more of like you guys can see all sides of everything. You're able to understand this person's perspective, and you're able to understand this person's perspective. Therefore, whoever you're hanging out with, you kind of mold yourselves to that, because you're like, oh, I totally understand that. And then you're like hanging out with this person who might have a totally different ideology or personality, and you're like, oh, I can totally fit with that. I can totally get along with that. And some people see it as inauthentic, but it's not. It's just that Gemini can fit in with it. They're a mutable sign, right? They can fit in with anything. But with the North Node transiting the first house, this has been, the past year has been challenging you guys to finally form a self-identity, to finally form who you are, and to stop conforming towards other people. Because I think what you guys have been inspired to do lately with North Node transiting your guys' sign is to be more self-defined, to let go of the need to change yourself based on who you're with. You know, you're finally finding, you know, who you really want to be and who you feel like you are internally, and forming deeper opinions and forming a deeper persona and deeper personality that doesn't mold so much towards what other people want or who other people are, right? And so this has been the huge push and pull that's been happening. And so for the month of May, we have Jupiter moving into the sign of Gemini, and we also have Venus moving into the sign of Gemini at the beginning of the month. And so with Mercury moving here, this is helping you guys really define your way of thinking. Right? So this is also helping you guys define what it is you want, how you present yourself, how you speak your mind, how you speak your thoughts. And then Venus moving over here as well, this is going to affect your relationships heavily, especially as it starts to conjunct the North Node, okay? And so this is affecting the way that you communicate with other people that are around you. This is affecting the way that you present yourself to other people as well, right? So for you guys during the month of May, this is going to be a huge like turning point and shifting point when you're finally able to realize that you're really solidifying who you are, and you're finally starting to let go of the need to conform and the need to people please and things like that in order to fit in, because you're realizing that maybe you do want your own self-identity, you do want to have your own opinions rather than shifting every time that you're around someone new. And you're also realizing that you're enjoying being on your own. I think Gemini, for the past year, you've actually really enjoyed being on your own with that North Node coming through your sign. That's been pushing you and pulling you towards being your own person. That's been pushing you towards the desire to be self-sufficient, the desire to do things on your own. So I think that for you guys, even though your sign rules like friendships and communication and things like that, I think that you guys, even though you guys still love those things, you guys have been pulled towards the direction of being a little bit more on your own, and you guys have been really enjoying that. And so with those planets coming through there, they're going to be pushing you more towards that and more of that self-definition. And then the huge eclipse that we're having at the end of the month, that's going to be happening in Sagittarius, of course, on the South Node, because that's how you map eclipses, is with the nodes. And so as that comes through in your 7th house, this is finally closing out the old patterns, the old behaviors that you guys have had in relationships, and closing out the need to maybe have emotional attachment in that area, since it is with Sagittarius over there. You guys tend to be pretty quick thinking and pretty on your feet when it comes to the people that you're around, and this is going to be finally closing out the need to flip-flop, the need to always hang on to other people and always people please. You're finally really just defining who you are and becoming who you are, becoming very like self-aware of who you are, and finally defining who that is. And so the month of May is bringing out an even bigger focus of that. And even though this has been happening for the past year, with all of the transits that were happening in the month of May that are affecting this area for you guys, this is finally solidifying this whole thing for you guys. Whatever you guys have been working on, the persona of you that you've been focusing on for this past year of this self-definition is finally coming to like getting its permanent stamp, right? The stamp of approval on it in the month of May, where it's just like, we did it, we're happy, we're proud, right? So that's finally coming out in the month of May for you guys. We do also have Jupiter moving into Pisces, which is moving into your guys' 10th house during the month of May. And this is a time when you guys are going to be expanding on something in regards to your career, because Jupiter is the planet of expansion. The 10th house is the house of our career, how we like to climb the ladder in life. So for some of you guys, if career is like something that you're really not focused on, this is just about climbing the ladder in some sort of way, getting to the next level, getting to the next goal, whatever goals that you guys have had in mind. Okay, this is bringing the expansion onto that. Finally, you guys feel like this is the month where things that you've been planning, things that you've been trying to attain are finally showing the pathways, especially since Jupiter's in Pisces. You guys are getting these intuitive hits in the month of May, and this is going to happen during the middle of May, okay? I believe on May 13th is when Jupiter moves into your guys' 10th house. And this is going to bring you a lot of like intuitive ideas when it comes to your career or when it comes to a big goal that you've had. So listening to your gut feelings, your gut instincts that you get around this time of the month are going to lead you towards more abundance. This is expanding a huge place of abundance for you. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys start making more money halfway through the month for a lot of you guys. Again, it is a general sort of reading based on your guys' sun sign or rising or moon, depending on which one that you're watching for. But depending on the other aspects of your chart, this is bringing in a lot more money for a lot of Geminis out there. This is bringing in a lot more abundance, a lot more opportunity in regards to your career or in regards to a big goal that you guys have had. This could also be making some sort of big purchase or making some sort of big decision around a big goal that you've had in mind for a long time. And this is also finding out how to bring balance, I do want to say, because also at the end of the month, the fact that we do have our lunar eclipse happening in your guys' 7th house, this is also finding balance. 7th house is all about our balance. It's kind of like that Libra sort of energy, and although it's about relationships and romance as well, it's also about finding balance between yourself and other people. Finding that good balance, because I feel like you guys have been debating on, like, do I go fully into just my own thing? Do I go fully back into what other people expect out of me? Or do I just fully say no and just go over here? Or do I fully just be alone? Or do I, stick on to some of the people that I want in my life? What do I do? Do I be fully recluse and hermit and be totally alone? Or, there's been this teeter-totter sort of energy. That full moon eclipse at the end of the month is going to help you realize that balance is key. You don't need to be fully super opinionated that you end up pissing people off. This is going to show you that balance is key in terms of your relationships and in terms of your self-definement, okay? And how you self-define yourself. So that is what I'm seeing for you guys, my Gemini babies, for the month of May. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below if you guys want to see more videos like this. And if so, I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. All right, so my Cancer babies, let's talk about you guys, my loves. So for the month of May, we're going to be talking about the month of May, but you guys have had the North Node transiting your guys' 12th house and the South Node transiting your guys' 6th house for the past year. And the month of May is going to be bringing a whole lot of focus towards those areas and closing out this old chapter before the North and South Node move into your guys' 11th and 5th house. So for now, it is still finishing out its transit through the 12th and 6th for you guys. And this brings on this sort of energy of, this whole past year actually has been this energy of mental things coming up. Because whenever we have the North Node transiting the 12th house, this is bringing up a lot of our mental challenges, a lot of the things that we have that are repressed, things that we have that are like secretive and things like that, and realizing that, sometimes we need to focus on ourselves rather than helping everyone else, because the South Node transiting your guys' 6th house, and my Cancerian babies, I know you guys very well. You guys really love to help other people. You guys are natural nurturers, right? And with the South Node transiting your guys' 6th, this is what we fall back on. This is where we fall into our comfortability, because the South Node is like things that we've already mastered and the things that we're used to that we can fall back on that are super easy for us. And the North Node is like pushing us where we need to focus, right? And so with the South Node transiting here, this whole past year has been this flip-flop of like every time that you guys are finding something difficult, or any time that you guys are going through something, you guys instead turn towards helping other people, being of service to other people and nurturing other people has been something that makes you guys feel better. It's almost like you use it as a form of distraction. Okay, is focusing on other people's problems rather than your own. Because the 6th house is us being of service to other people, and also our routine. So for you guys, the way that you've been dealing with your mental things, because the 12th house, that's where we need to bring our focus, but instead we have that South Node contrast in the 6th house. So you guys have been distracting yourselves by keeping a tight routine over your life. You guys have been probably distracting yourselves by focusing a lot on whatever other people are going through. But this whole past year, what you guys have been realizing is that we need to focus on what you guys are feeling, because you guys are feeling some type of way, and you're just distracting yourselves by focusing on other people, what other people need, or how you can aid in the rest of the world, or focusing on your schedule and your routine and being like, I don't have enough time to focus on what's going on up here, so I'm just gonna bring the focus over here. And so it's always also blaming the issue outside of yourself. But what you guys are finally realizing, and what you guys have been realizing for this past year, is that we need to bring the focus towards your own mind. Okay, North Node, 12th house. This is bringing up old patterns, old addictions, habits that you have. You're finally becoming aware of certain habits that you have as a form of escapism, because the 12th house is escapism, and the North Node being there is bringing focus to this area. This is where we're going to notice that we have certain maybe habits, but this is also the house of dreams and creativity, and a lot of other really cool things. So the positive aspect of this house is that once you guys deal with the habits, once you guys deal with the patterns, once you guys deal with the like telling yourselves it's okay, because it's also about the veil. The 12th house is about kind of wearing a veil and not really seeing the full entirety of what's there. Once you guys kind of deal with that, you do the shadow work on what you have repressed in the past. This is going to unlock the wildest imagination. This is going to unlock you guys into moving into like a limitless area, because the 12th house is also very limitless because it's like consciousness itself. So what I want you guys to, I guess the best way to explain this, I always like explaining abstract things in a physical form because I feel like it helps me explain it better to you guys. But essentially the 12th house is this area of boundless, limitless ideas and creativity that you guys could expand into. There's unlimited possibility of who you guys could become in the 12th house, okay? So the 12th house is this limitless area for us. And so this is where the wildest fantasies of your wildest dreams can come to life. This is where you guys can tap into those, right? So with the North Node over here, this is such a beautiful transit because you guys can tap into these limitless things. But in order to get there, you are faced with all the walls, all the conditionings, all the boundaries that you might not even realize that you have on yourself. This could be embedded boundaries and limitations that your parents have put on you since you were a young child. And so you're finally realizing, if you ever realize that you're running into a brick wall, Cancer, this is because there is some sort of boundary there, some sort of limitation. This could be a limiting belief, which they're all limiting beliefs, but it could be a limiting belief that you've put on yourself. It could be a limiting belief that you've just absorbed from your family. So your family's limiting beliefs about maybe money, maybe about what you can or can't attain, what's possible for you, what's impossible for you. So you've been running into that wall for this past year and kind of realizing that you have certain walls, you have these certain limitations, and this is what's been holding you back from your true potentiality, because the 12th house is this huge potentiality area, and you guys can tap into that. And what Mercury coming through and transiting this area for you guys, because Mercury is going to be moving into the sign of Gemini on May 3rd, and this is going to be moving towards that North Node. And so this is going to be putting a focus towards your way of thinking. How do you self-limit yourself? Where do you think that what do you believe is possible for you? These are going to be big questions that enter into your mind during the month of May. What is possible for you? How do you deal with your mental mind in a healthy way, right? So this is bringing up your need to maybe communicate more about how you're feeling, rather than always falling back on helping other people as a distraction, rather than always falling back on the events and tasks, because that's also another distraction for you guys, is focusing too much on events and tasks, because that's another distraction. It's another thing that you can place your feelings of issues onto events and tasks and other people, and by fixing those things, you guys are hoping it's going to fix something internally. But what you guys need to realize is that we need to fix the limiting beliefs that you guys have on your own, and the certain emotions that you maybe repressed in the past, because this is where emotions from the past begin to bubble up, right? And so this is going into facing these things with Venus coming in here as well. This might express itself through relationships during the month of May for you guys, and things like that. So this is going to be bringing a huge focus onto this area, and just by facing it, just by dealing with it, just by being aware of it, this is how we begin to fix it, right? And so this is moving away from the old and moving more into that new. Instead of relying on work, you guys might be realizing that certain work things just aren't really working for you anymore. And then Jupiter's also moving into Pisces halfway through the month, and this is going to be affecting your guys' 9th house, okay? So this is expanding the way that you're able to express and teach other people by learning what you've learned for this past year, because you guys have been learning these things for the past year. We're finally putting on the finishing touches to this conclusion for you guys. You guys have probably learned so much about yourself, your own mental things, your own limitations that you put on yourself, and you guys have been removing these limitations for this past year. So now it's time for you guys to finish the removal process of all these limitations and realizing that you can really do anything, Cancer. You guys can do anything. Your potential is endless, okay? So realizing that you can do this, getting rid of those limiting beliefs, baby. Getting rid of them. And then Cancer moving into the 9th house, you're going to have new philosophies. especially since it's in Pisces, which is like hugely connected to the 12th house stuff that we've been talking about. And Jupiter is also the traditional ruler of Pisces as well. So this moving into the 9th house, this is going to be you guys finally bringing on a whole new philosophy for your life. And this is going to happen halfway through the month of May, around May 13th. This is going to be when you guys finally have this transition of like, maybe you were always thinking negatively and you're like, I don't want to do that anymore, because worrying and thinking negatively isn't going to change the outcome at all. So what's the point? What's the point of worrying or anything? It's not going to change anything about what's about to happen. Things that are out of your control, stop worrying about them. These are going to be the new philosophies that start to come into your life as Jupiter moves into the 9th house for you guys, while Jupiter's in Pisces. So this is going to bring on whole new philosophies of life. You guys might have some sort of spiritual awakening at this time as well for some of you guys, and start to realize that there's whole new things to be looking at over here. And then we're going to end the month, closing out the month, with the huge lunar eclipse in Sagittarius on May 26th. And this is going to be, of course, happening in your guys' 6th house. So this is going to bring illumination to maybe how work has maybe influenced some of these things. Maybe you've distracted yourself too much on work, and we're closing out old cycles, and we're realizing what we deserve and what we do not deserve. We're realizing that instead of always focusing on other people's problems, we also need to focus a little bit more on our own. We need to bring more of that in. So it's closing out an old chapter of where maybe you used to neglect your self needs for others' needs. So it's closing out that old chapter, that old cycle that's been happening for this past year, that you guys have been realizing for this last year. It's finally like closing the door for that at the end of the month on May 26th for you guys. It's closing out those old chapters. The full moon is closing out those chapters because that's what full moons represent. It represents the ending and the finishing cycle, because it's the finishing cycle of the moon, right? Before we start heading back to the new moon. So yes, this is the grand finale of finally letting go of the things that no longer serve you. 6th house, what no longer serves you. And moving into the 12th house of unlimited possibilities, and getting prepared for that to move into the 11th and 5th house for you guys shortly after. So that is what I'm seeing for you guys, my Cancers. I'm sending you guys all my love and all my inspiration. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below if you guys want to see more videos like this. And if so, I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. All right, so my Leo babies, let's talk about you guys and what's going to happen for you guys in the month of May. So I'm going to bring the focus on talking about the nodes, just because they're being heavily aspected in the month of May, and in my opinion, it's closing out a whole year cycle for you guys. So you guys have North Node in your guys' 11th house and the South Node in your guys' 5th house, okay? And so these have been here for the past year, and we have Venus and Mercury in the beginning of May that will be transiting and coming into your guys' 11th house. And it's going to be slowly moving towards the North Node as well. And so this is going to be bringing out a focus on the footprint that you want to leave behind on the world. The focus is realizing, you know, who do I really want to be, and what kind of like imprint do I want to leave behind? You know, who do you really want to, if you could carve yourself into a painting, what would you want that to look like? Would you want it to look like everything that you've been so far? Or are there certain aspects that you desire to change about yourself, or that you have been changing yourself over this past year? Because this whole past year has been bringing that focus towards that. And I think you guys have been doing a lot of like inner reflection about who you are, and kind of like letting go of the ego a little bit more, Leos, and stepping into more of like that empathic nature, and kind of thinking about other people a lot more for this past year. Especially since South Node is in the 5th house for you guys. This is letting go of the need to maybe like focus on the self, or focusing on the casual things in life. This could be like casually dating. This could be like other just casual events that have been a focus for you guys, because your natural sort of like place of being, your natural serenity is the 5th house, right? But for you guys, it's the opposite right now. We're going through the opposite. So now you guys are focusing a lot more upon other people, more worldly events. I think that you guys are more interested in worldly events than you ever have been before in this past year. And in the month of May, we do have Mercury moving into there at first. And Mercury moving into your guys' 11th house, this is kind of like how you really want to present yourself and the way that you think about the rest of the world. And I think that you guys are going to be getting ideas about who you want to be, and this sort of like legacy that you want to leave behind on this planet. Okay, so this is heavily focused on these ideas and the new thoughts that are going to be coming up mentally for you guys about that. And you guys are going to be finding yourselves thinking more about that than ever before. And the fact that we also have Venus moving into here a little bit later on in May, and Venus will be moving into Gemini as well. This is going to be, again, bringing in more of that loving nature. It's going to be like, I want to bring in more love into this planet. I want to like leave more of an imprint of that behind as it starts to move closer and closer to that North Node as well. So being in that 11th house, I think that you guys will be making some important friendships this month as well, because the 11th house does deal with friendships as well. So if I didn't bring that up, then who would I be? So for you guys, with Mercury and Venus moving in there, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys make a new important friendship connection, or some sort of new networking connections are going to be happening for you. And they're going to be really important towards your mission in the world. Like, what do you want your mission to be? Because that's what the North Node is, right? So right now, your mission being in the 11th house is all about your legacy, the imprint that you want to leave on the planet, how you want to affect the planet, right? How you want to affect other people. You're realizing that you do have an effect on other people, right? And instead of bringing the focus towards yourself, which is that 5th house, that's what you guys are used to. So that's where the South Node is. And that's what we've been letting go of for this past year. You guys have been slowly letting go of, like, you know, maybe I don't need the focus to be on me all the time. Maybe I want to leave my legacy, because the only way that you're going to leave a footprint on this planet is to focus on the planet rather than yourself, right? You already have a foot, so you're going to leave footprints wherever you go. But focusing on where and how you want that to be on the planet, where do you want those footprints to be? What kind of impact do you want to have? What areas do you want to impact on the planet, right? So this is bringing the focus towards those things rather than the 5th house stuff, which is more of the casual stuff. That's more of the personal stuff. You know, it's very personal. It's about family. It's about children. It's about, you know, dating, everyday sort of things, right? So now we're moving more towards the world and how you guys want to affect the world. And then we also do have Jupiter moving into Pisces, and this is going to affect your guys' 8th house. And in the 8th house, when Jupiter moves into Pisces, this is going to be expanding into, you know, shedding old skin is the 8th house, because this is the huge transformation. It's like the death of the old self and moving into the new self. It's about endings and beginnings. So there's cycles that you're heavily ending, and there's going to be a huge expansion into this new self. I think that you guys are going to have ideas about how you really want to impact the world. I think your purpose is going to be made more clear to you as we finish up the North Node in Gemini and Sagittarius than ever before. Like, I feel like this is going to be the moment of you guys kind of realizing who you really want to be, shedding the skin of your old self with that 8th house sort of stuff going on for you guys, and Jupiter entering that for you guys. This is also where we can get random increases of money as well. So there's usually a lot of luck in random increases of money, because 8th house is about inheritances, or like entering random sums of money that were quite unexpected. So this can be an area that's good for that as well. So Jupiter being in Pisces over here kind of leads to that unexpected sort of nature. So there could be some unexpected money coming in the month of May for you guys, especially around the middle of May is when Jupiter kind of enters that. And it's going to be there a little bit longer as well, so it could happen outside of the month of May as well. But as we enter the month of May, that's when it's going to start beginning for a lot of Leos, is that sort of like random increases in money and things like that. And this is also bringing the focus towards the only way to grow is to shed the old. So that's going to be another thing that you guys are realizing, because Jupiter, since it's all about expansion, and then the 8th house is all about the endings and beginnings, this is when we start to realize that we've outgrown our shell, right? And the only way to expand, you're like a hermit crab right now that's like, I've outgrown my shell, I need to find a new one. So you guys are like crawling along the sand, you're like, where's a new shell? Because like hermit crabs only crawl into like already made shells, so they're like trying to find a new one. So for you guys, it's almost like the month of May is realizing, it's like the beginning of this realization that you guys have outgrown your old shell. You guys need to find a new one. I feel like you guys have expanded past that and you guys are ready for something new. It's like the shedding of the old skin. You no longer fit into it. It's getting a little itchy. It's getting a little old. We're going to need to shed that out so that we can continue expanding, we can continue growing, you know? It's like, how long are you going to wear the same pairs of shoes for before you realize that they're already a size too small and they're starting to hurt your feet, okay? So I feel like that's you guys in the month of May, is realizing that there's certain things that are painful for you right now because that's a cycle that's old. It's a cycle that's ended. It's an old shoe. You guys are still wearing the old shoe, but you're living a whole new life. It's almost like you become a new person, but you're still wearing the old shoe, and now all of a sudden your feet don't fit in there anymore because you've grown. It's like you've been wearing the same shoes for the past 5 years since you were 5 years old, and now you're 10 years old. Do you know how much a foot grows between 5 years old and 10 years old? It's like you guys have been still wearing that old shoe, and it's finally time to close that out, right? So the month of May is going to be heavily realizing that you're still maybe wearing the old shoes. And it's time to buy some new shoes, my Leo babies. It is time to buy some new shoes so that you guys continue expanding in a new area. It's time to get rid of the old, let it go, yada, yada, yada. And talking about shoes, this is also about the footprint that you want to leave on the planet. So instead of wearing the old shoes that you've been wearing since you were 5, it's time to get a shoe that really fits so that you can leave that big imprint on the planet. So the month of May is going to be heavily focused around these sort of energies for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this reading, my Leo babies. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. All right, so next we're gonna talk about my Virgo babies. Hello, welcome to your part of the horoscope. So for you guys, you have North Node that's been in your 10th house for the past year, and you have South Node in the 4th house for the past year. These are gonna be heavily aspected in the month of May, so we're gonna be talking about those and kind of the focus that we're bringing, because it's ending out this sort of like old chapter that we've been focused on for this past year. And so with the North Node in your guys' 10th house, this has been bringing a focus to the type of career that I think you guys wanna move towards, or the sort of the ladder that you wanna climb, the expansion that you wanna have, the sort of goals that you have in mind versus where you're comfortable. And so I think that you guys have been on this sort of bridge for the past year of, I really want to do this, but it's also really comfortable to just be right here. So, you know, there's been this sort of contrast for the past year, and these are going to be heavily aspected in the month of May. So it's going to bring up this energy even more for you guys in the month of May, because we have, first of all, we have Mercury passing by and entering into Gemini, which is entering into your guys' 10th house. It's going to be conjuncting the North Node halfway through the month. And Mercury moving here is sort of gaining these new ideas. If you guys have felt stuck into how you guys can expand into your future, because I think that you guys have had some big goals in mind, and a trajectory of where you want to end up, essentially, because that's the 10th house, is like there's a goal, there's a trajectory of where we want to end up, and it's about, you know, seeking out higher highs, right? So I think that there's been a big idea that you guys have had in mind. And with Mercury entering here, this is going to allow you to expand into ideas. This is going to be like hugely creative for you guys, especially since it's in the sign of Gemini, which is the ruling sign of Mercury, or the sign that Mercury rules. But this moving into this area for you guys is going to allow you to expand. And it's also your ruling sign as well, Virgo. So there's a lot of like really good energy for you guys within expanding ideas and planning for how you can reach this big goal. So there's going to be a lot of planning. There's going to be a lot of ideas coming into your head during the month of May. This is like the month of May for you guys is literally this huge month of expanding these ideas. And Mercury does go retrograde on May 29th, and it's going to go retrograde through Gemini again. So this is also going to be where we have to reevaluate things. So I think that there's going to be all these new ideas that come up during the beginning of May that you guys really want to implement that can really help you, and they're going to be really inspiring ideas about how you can attain this goal, and sort of like good things that are coming along. But then at the end of May, Mercury's going to go retrograde, and you'll have to sort of revise these certain things. You're going to realize that there's revision that needs to be had here in order for this to actually become fruitful, in order for this to come to fruition, essentially, whatever this goal is that you've had in mind. It will need some revision, but that's fine, because at least you guys are making progress, right? Because the Mercury goes retrograde every once in a while. This is almost like how our mind works, right? We take 2 steps forward, we got to take 1 step back. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And so that's sort of like how I view Mercury retrograde. You guys are doing the 2 steps forward during the month of May, then there's going to be a little bit of a 1 step backwards, so you guys can reevaluate the things that you've planned, and so that we can rehash them in order to refine them and make them perfect, right? It's almost like you guys were in the mine, you were mining some beautiful crystals, you got the most beautiful crystals ever, you know, and you think the job's done, but it's not, because then we have to go take those crystals, we have to refine them, we have to polish them up to actually have them become our vision of what we want them to become, so that other people can see the beauty of the crystal. Because, you know, when you mine a crystal from a mine, it doesn't look nearly remotely as good. In fact, some of them are unrecognizable when you first mine them out of a mine. Like you see like a garnet or something when you first mine it, and you're like, that doesn't look too significant in any way. But then you go through the polishing stages of it and you polish it up and you're like, wow, that was sitting in our planet, in our earth. Wow. So it's almost like you guys are doing that right now with your goal. You guys are going through the phase of like mining out what you guys need. You guys are doing the process of it. And then as we get to the end of May, when Mercury goes retrograde, this is when we're realizing, I need to refine this a little bit more in order to make it actually fit my vision of what I want. It's like you guys are gaining all the ingredients, you're gaining all the things, you're getting all the ideas, you're getting everything that you need. You know, you have your basket of crystals now, but then the end of the month is going to be where we have to focus on the revision of them, okay, refining them. And then also I do want to talk about the fact that we have South Node going through your guys' fourth house. This has been going through your fourth house for the past year. And this has been this push and pull energy of you guys do want to go towards this new dream, this new goal, this new height. But it also feels so comfortable to just stay in the comfort zone, to stay in your own home, to be where you're comfortable, you know, what you've already built up. The fourth house is where the things that we've already built up, relying a lot on family, relying on the people that are in our life, relying a lot on our home and just being a little bit of a homebody. I think that a lot of Virgos have become really good at being at home. They might not like it, they might not prefer it, because I think that you guys have dreams that are beyond that, but you guys are really good at it because the South Node has been there for the past year, so you guys are like professionals at it. But it's like we still have these big goals in mind, so it's this teeter-totter effect that we've been kind of going through, right? And so the fact that we have Venus coming through here, through into your guys' 10th house as well, it's going to be conjunct the North Node. Venus moving here as well is going to help you guys refine this even further. You're realizing the little sprinkle, the cherry on top that you want to have on the trajectory of where you're going. You guys, there's a whole new inspiration coming into this area. This is also an area where abundance can really take place, because the 10th house is a huge focus on career and money and things like that. And Venus, since it is a ruler of Taurus, also talks about money and finances as well. So this can be where we do feel a little bit more abundant in the month of May. So there could be a lot more abundance coming in for you guys during the month of May, more than you're used to at the very least. And then we do also have Jupiter moving into Pisces, which is going to affect your guys' 7th house. And Jupiter in Pisces in the 7th house is an expansion on the people that are in our life, because the 7th house is our really intimate partnerships. So this could be really close friendships. This could be a romantic partnership. This could be talking about really close, sometimes family members, but those are more the 4th house. But these are just really intimate people that we surround ourselves by. Jupiter moving into this area brings abundance in that area. So it brings us closer to those that we're already close to. And it can also bring in more like-minded people to us that help us feel really connected in the world and things like that. With Jupiter being in Pisces in this area, sometimes it can have a tendency of us realizing who our real friends are versus who our not real friends are. You might notice a lot of appreciation from a lot of people that you're close to, and you're going to realize that the ones that don't give you that appreciation maybe aren't on the level that you thought they were. So Jupiter moving into this area makes it very clear who is on that level and who is not, especially since Jupiter's in the sign of Pisces. So Pisces is the natural sign of wearing rose-colored glasses, of kind of like trying to see the best in people, even when there's not really that. So this kind of coming over here is like expansion in your guys' relationship. So you're realizing the ones that maybe we've thought were really good but maybe aren't. But then we also get the beautiful aspect, the abundant aspect of Jupiter in showing us more loving relationships than we've ever had before. So the people that you are close to, I wouldn't be surprised if you receive a lot of like abundance from them, an abundance of love, an abundance of romance, an abundance of affection and appreciation, okay? So that is also what I see happening for you guys during the month of May. So my Virgo babies, there's this huge flip-flop energy. Then we also are closing out the month of May with that big solar eclipse on the South Node. So that big solar eclipse is gonna be that moment of getting so fed up with just like your old life, essentially, because it's happening in your guys' 4th house. So there could be something that you guys are just like, I am so done with your home life. Maybe you guys spend way too much time at home and you guys are just so done with that. For some of you guys, maybe this could be ending out an old cycle of realizing that maybe you want to do some home renos. So for some of you guys, it could be aspecting doing like home renovations, or realizing that you want to change something up about your home. Maybe some of you guys will be moving. Maybe some of you guys will get a spontaneous idea of just like, I'm done living in the same old place anymore. You know, depending on the other things that you have happening in your chart for this time, Virgo. This is going to aspect all of you guys a little bit differently depending on the other aspects that you have going on in your personal natal chart. But this does bring a closing out aspect in some way that's involving home life. So this could be the fact that maybe you are done spending so much time there, or maybe you just want to change something up about it, whether that be moving or redecorating or things like that as well. So that is what I'm seeing for you guys, my Virgo babies. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below if you guys want to see more videos like this. And if so, I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. All right, so my Libra babies, let's talk about what's happening for you guys. So we have the North Node in your guys' 9th house and the South Node happening in your guys' 3rd house. And this transit has been happening for the past year for you guys, but it is being heavily aspected in the month of May. So it's bringing a lot of attention to this area and closing out this old chapter, helping us kind of finalize what we've been learning over the past year in the month of May. So the North Node being in your guys' 9th house, you guys have become more of a philosopher of life than you ever before in the past year. I feel like you guys have been sort of redefining who you are. You guys have been learning so much about life and finally reflecting on so much in the past. You guys have been probably on a learning binge of being interested in a multitude of different topics since this has been transiting your guys' 9th house for the past year. This is like bringing you guys to being more focused on like, who do you really want to be? What is your purpose in life? What do you want your purpose to be in life, right? Because that's also like the 9th house, right? And the North Node being over there is pushing you towards the destiny of that. That is the trajectory of your soul for this past year has been focused on what do you really want your purpose to be? Who do you really want to be internally? And like by learning new things, by expanding yourself in so many different areas, this is where we start to help refine who we are. By looking everywhere out here, we find little aspects of what we agree with and what we disagree with, and that helps us be really refined when we come back to the center of it, right? And so for you guys, we have Mercury moving here in the beginning of May. That's going to be moving into the sign of Gemini, which is in your guys' 9th house. And this is going to be bringing out the energy of redefining your way of thinking. So your way of thinking, your way of communication is going to be slightly different than it ever has been because you guys have been refining it over this past year, and now you're finally putting into practice. You're finally speaking your mind about certain things that you believe in, finally realizing what you like to talk about and what you like to think about, and it's different from who you used to be because you've been on this whole time of like redefining who you are for this past year. Okay? And then so with Venus moving here as well, I feel like you guys have been almost taking on this new, like, in the month of May, you guys will be kind of like taking on this new form of like who you really are, like stepping into this new role of who you want to be. And there could also be ideas of travel with Mercury transiting this area as well. So you guys might have some plans about some quick little road trips here and there for some of you guys, if you guys are able to take that. I know a lot of us are not able to do that, but I do notice whenever we have these kind of alignments over here, it can lead you towards those certain types of endeavors depending on the rest of your natal chart. And with the South Node transiting the 3rd house, I think that you guys are realizing that there's certain friendships that have been falling out of your life. With the South Node, anytime South Node transits the 3rd house for anyone, this is sort of like old friendships are falling away. And with this being in Sagittarius, you're kind of realizing the conflict between the friendships that you have and the philosophies that you have about life. Because I think mentally you guys are pushing yourselves to this new area and wanting to go in this new direction. But then there's certain friendships that might hold you back in the past, that you might hang out with, that you feel your old self with, that bring out your old self or bring out your old ideologies, because maybe you don't match up with those old ideologies anymore. And there's certain friendships that you had from the past that are maybe still in your life that you're realizing that you really need to let go of, that you've been trying to let go of for this past year. And with that full moon eclipse that we're having at the end of the month on May 26th, this is heavily going to close out the people that no longer resonate with you. Since this is happening in the 3rd house, this is closing out the communication with people that no longer serve you, that no longer align with you, because you're in a whole new trajectory, you guys. There's some people that are still learning these topics that you've learned, and you're like, I've already been here, I've already done all this, I've already experienced all of those things. These people are way stuck in the past. Not that anyone's better or worse than anyone. We're all on totally different paths, but you're just realizing that your path no longer aligns with certain people. And you're realizing that you have a whole new trajectory that you want to go in, Libras. Like, you guys have this whole new idea of life, this whole new desire of who you want to be. And there's people that absolutely have been just not aligned to that, that have honestly been holding you back. It's like wearing a ball and chain, and your guys are like, I really want to go all the way over there, but then I have this ball and chain that's expecting me to be here. I've always been here for them, but they're restricting me from going where I really want to go. So there's certain friendships that I think that you guys are going to be saying no to. There's certain people in your life that you guys are going to be saying no to. There's certain small events, because the third house is also about small events that we go to and things that we used to spend our time doing. There's going to be things that you're like, I just need to start to say no to that, because there's this whole new trajectory that you guys want to go to, and it's more aligned to what your purpose is. I think that you guys have this desire, and you've had this desire for the past year, to create some sort of meaningful purpose in your life. And that's going to be heavily aspected with Mercury and Venus. And Venus is the planet of like beauty, abundance, love, relationships. So you guys are finally realizing that you guys want relationships that align to your new philosophies of life. That is the 9th house. And with Venus moving into the 9th house during the month of May, this is going to bring out this desire to have relationships that align with that. And then Mercury does go retrograde through this area at the end of the month. It happens on May 29th. It's going to start retrograding through this area. And this is going to be you guys having to do revisions over this, because maybe you're realizing that people do come back, because every time we have Mercury retrograde, people seem to come back into our lives, people from our past. So you might realize that you need to revise that. You might realize that there is this teeter-totter that you guys have had, maybe this pattern that you guys have had that pulls you back into the past all the time. And you guys are like, how do I break free from this? And Mercury retrograde is going to help you guys realize that at the end of the month. And we do also have Jupiter that's moving into Pisces, which is moving into your guys' 6th house. So with this transit, this is going to bring a huge focus upon your career. I think that you guys are going to be more focused on career than ever when it comes to the purpose that you want to have in your life, with the North Node transiting the 9th. And then with Jupiter moving into your guys' 6th house, this is expanding in your career. You guys are going to heavily want to expand this area. You guys are going to want to have solid routines and schedules. And Jupiter is the expansion of this. So I think that you guys are going to be more inclined to stick to a solid structure in your life. This is going to happen halfway through the month. On May 13th is when Jupiter moves into Pisces, which is your guys' 6th house. So this is going to start to bring in that energy of wanting to stick to a scheduled routine, holding yourselves accountable. Being of service to other people as well is another 6th house aspect. This is also being really focused on the environment, being focused on nature, being focused on how you want to impact the world, and things like that is going to be the focuses and things that are happening in the month of May for you guys that we see in the transits that we looked at. So that is what I'm seeing for you guys, Libra. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below if you guys want to see more videos like this. And if so, I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. All right, my Scorpio babies, let's talk about the month of May for you guys. So for this past year, you guys have had North Node transiting your guys' 8th house, and you guys have had the South Node transiting your guys' 2nd house. And so these are going to be heavily aspected in the month of May, which is why I wanted to talk about these ones. So with the North Node sitting in your guys' 8th house, this whole past year, you have been on the verge and the brink of like wanting to go through some major change, wanting to shed your old skin. Okay, and with the South Node being in the 2nd house, this is like something where we tend to rely on the things that make us comfortable, and we've been relying on what makes us comfortable, and we've been relying more on the material world, but we've been pushing, and our soul's been urging us towards finding a more spiritual connection, a more spiritual meaning, finding something that's deeper. You guys have been seeking something that's deeper, rather than something that's more material, more surface level. Okay, so I think that you guys have been getting tired of the things that are surfacey. You guys have been getting tired of surface level stuff, and you guys have been more focused towards like this desire for something more deep, more meaningful, more purposeful. Something that has a bit more of a deeper connection, more of a spiritual connection. And this is also an area where we go through major shifts, major changes, right? And so for you guys moving into this direction, this is going to be heavily aspected in the month of May, because we do have Mercury moving into the sign of Gemini, which is the 8th house for you guys. So Mercury moving over here, I think that you guys are going to desire deeper ways of thinking. And I think that in the month of May, you guys are going to have a lot more deeper thoughts about what you guys want to do, the trajectory that you guys want to go. And you guys only want to have deep conversations. I think that you guys are so moving past like meaningless conversation, especially with Mercury entering this area for you guys too. It's just like meaningless conversation is just like, I just don't have time for it. I think that you guys are realizing what you have time for and what you do not have time for, right? You guys don't want to spend your time and waste your time with 2nd house stuff, which is just like more surface level things. You know, you guys are like, I don't want to waste my time with that. Your time is becoming very important to you over this past year. And since we have Mercury moving over here, it's just like, if it isn't like purposeful for me, if there's no meaning behind it, I'm not going to waste my time doing it, no matter how big or small it is. Then we do also have Venus moving into this area as well. So this is going to be heavily focused around relationships too, and realizing that you don't want surface level relationships that just want to party or just want to focus on clothes and what they wear. You guys are like, I just want to focus more on the people that I have a deep connection with, that understand me mentally, that understand me on a deep level. So I think that you guys are getting rid of all of this sort of like surface level stuff. Not that there's anything wrong with those things. There's nothing wrong with those things at all, but I think that you guys have been sort of kind of tired of it. You guys have been tired of the average everyday things that we see all the time. And then there's this desire to move towards like, but what does it mean, right? Trying to find the meaning behind all the things that we see online. Trying to find deeper meaning behind other things. Like that's what really interests you, and that's what's been catching your interest lately, Scorpio, is things like that. And so we're moving more towards that sort of stuff, and also shedding our old skin and realizing that maybe we used to be focused on, you know, other stuff, but we're realizing that that didn't bring us fulfillment. What does bring you fulfillment, Scorpio? What does bring you fulfillment? Because you guys are finally realizing that in the month of May. You're finally realizing the relationships that truly bring you fulfillment. You're finally realizing the conversations that truly bring you fulfillment. You're finally realizing the tasks that you could be filling your time with, the career that really brings you that deep fulfillment. That's not just so like, the other stuff has almost become bland to you guys, and you guys are just searching for something that has more meaning and has more purpose. Okay, so the North Node being in Gemini, this is heavily about who you surround yourself by as well. So you're realizing that there's certain friendships, there's certain people that you just don't connect with anymore, right? And so we also do have the big eclipse that's happening at the end of the month on May 26th. That's happening in your guys' second house. And this eclipse is like letting go of some old stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys end up like throwing away a bunch of old things, especially with that eclipse happening in the sign of Sagittarius. So this is like getting rid of things that we were maybe emotionally attached to before in like previously, that we're just like, there's no more connection with it, I'm throwing it out. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of Scorpios go through major deep cleanings by the end of the month, or even just throughout the month of May, getting rid of old things that just no longer connect with you anymore, and just going through a shedding of all the old and this whole new sort of rebirth that's happening. You guys also do have Jupiter that's moving into your guys' fifth house. It's moving into Pisces in your guys' fifth house halfway through the month of May. And so this sort of energy is going to bring a big focus on this can bring a focus on dating. This could bring a focus on children for some of you guys. That might be a thing for some of you guys during the month of May, since Jupiter's moving over there. Jupiter also brings out a lot of abundance. So you might notice that there's an abundance of people that desire to be around you, since that's also about the fifth house. And this is also about having fun. So I think that for you guys, Jupiter moving into this area is realizing how you like to have fun. What is fun to you, right? Especially mentally, things that are mentally stimulating. Jupiter in Pisces in the fifth house. And so I think that the month of May is also you guys focusing on a new way of having fun, discovering new ways of having fun that actually bring in that deep meaning for you, that actually bring in the mental fulfillment and the physical and emotional fulfillment that you really need. This can also be focusing on bringing out the mental fulfillment and emotional fulfillment from dating, if you guys are dating at all, and focusing on how you can bring more of that abundant energy into your guys' life during the month of May. So that is what we have over there. We do also have Mercury that will be going through retrograde on May 29th, and it will be adding revision over this whole area. And so that's going to be going retrograde through your guys' 8th house, which is bringing up this realizing how you need to revise your new self to adjust to this new lifestyle that you guys have been having your eyes on, that you have been like trajecting yourself towards, this new idea, this new identity that you guys desire to be, this new self that you guys are stepping into. We do have Mercury going retrograde over that area, so it's going to be, you guys are going to be rehashing some sort of things about how you want your life to look, how you want that to be, and rehashing different friendships that you might have had. And I think getting into June a little bit, as Mercury does go through retrograde through this area, I would be surprised if you guys have some like people from your past that will be coming back. I mean, Mercury really brings that for most people, but since I see like you guys letting go of a lot of like the old stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if some of those things kind of like come back into your life at some point in the month of June. So that'll be kind of like interesting to see for you guys, Scorpio. And again, it's kind of different per person depending on how your natal chart is actually laid out, but that is what we see kind of happening over here for you guys. Hugely shedding of the old skin, letting go of like the things that are just sort of more meaningless and wanting to find deep connection. It's just like casual dating is not a thing for you guys anymore. Casual friendships that you see once in a while that don't really go beyond the surface don't mean ish to you anymore. It's just like, I don't want that, right? You guys want something that's deep. You guys want the deep stuff. And that's what you guys are moving towards. So that's what I'm seeing for you guys, Scorpios, for the month of May. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below if you guys want to see more videos like this. And if so, I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. All right, so my Sagittarius babies, let's talk about what's happening for you guys in the month of May. So for this past year, you guys have had North Node that's transiting your guys' 7th house, with the South Node transiting your guys' 1st house for this past year. And so this has been bringing out very particular energies for this past year. And the month of May, these two nodes are going to be pretty heavily aspected with some like different things that are going on. This is almost closing out an old cycle before these nodes switch into the next signs, which is Taurus and Scorpio. But for you guys, what's been going on, and the fact that you guys have North Node that's been transiting your guys' 7th house, this is pushing you guys and urging you guys to make more meaningful connections and friendships over this past year. So I wouldn't be surprised if you guys have made some of the most meaningful, deep connections over this past year, or at least deepened the ones that you've already currently had to a level. I said had, so weird there. Or at least deepened the ones that you've had over this past year to a level that you've never experienced before, okay? And so with the South Node transiting the 1st house, this is where we tend to rely on just ourselves. So one thing that I think that you guys have been challenged with is letting go of the need to always close yourself off. Like anytime something goes wrong, I think that you guys are so quick to just focus on you, the things that you're good at, and just dive deep into that. You know, just focus in on that. Anytime something goes wrong or anytime there's some sort of challenge that presents itself, I think that you guys are very quick to like cut people out of your life and be like, I'm just going to focus on what I'm good at because that's what I'm good at. You know, that's the South Node when it's transiting through the 1st. So the past year, you guys have been through this flip-flop of like, do I really want to do that anymore? Because your soul has been calling you towards focusing more on the people that are in your life, focusing more on those connections and not saying no to them, and focusing more on bringing your energy towards that and building up those connections to a deeper place, to a more meaningful place, okay? So Sagittarius, this is what we've been experiencing. This is what we've been going through for the past year for you guys. And in the month of May, we have Mercury moving into the sign of Gemini, which is moving into your guys' 7th house. So this is going to increase your communication with certain people. This is going to, I think that you guys are going to have more plans and more events happening with other people in your life than ever this whole year. I think May is going to be a very busy month for you guys in regards to the people that you are obligated to see, the certain events that you probably have going on. Then we also have Venus moving into this area as well. So there could be important love connections that are getting deeper in the month of May for you guys. There could be some important relationship stuff going on for you guys with Venus moving over here in the month of May. So this is bringing out really important relationships, how we deal with them, how we communicate with them. This is bringing them deeper, actually, for you guys in the month of May. They're bringing like really deep stuff to you guys, okay? So Sagittarius babies, get ready for some really just deep stuff happening in terms of relationships in the month of May for you guys. And then also we do have the major lunar eclipse in Sagittarius happening in your guys' 1st house at the end of the month on May 26th. And this is going to be closing out the need to escape through what you're good at, the need to be self-sufficient all the time. This is closing out the need to always rely just on yourself. This is bringing you more towards, it's time to start relying on other people a little bit, and not in an unhealthy way. I mean in a healthy way. This is time to start, like, anytime that you need something, or anytime you're going through a challenge, instead of going through it on your own, this is calling you towards spend some time with people. Talk it through with the people that are in your life. This is about deepening those connections, Sagittarius. This is about like starting to really express your emotions. Venus moving into your guys' 7th house. It's time to express the way that you feel, especially with Mercury there too. Like, guys, express how you feel instead of going internal and being like, I'm good on my own. You know, Sagittarius, they're so flighty too. It's just like, I'm good on my own. We don't need to show emotion. It's fine. But at the same time, Sagittarius is also a hopeless romantic. So let's be honest, you guys. it's time to start expressing emotions. It's time to start expressing how you guys feel internally, okay? And then we also do have Jupiter moving into your guys' 4th house. It's moving into the sign of Pisces, which is moving into Sagittarius' 4th house. And so this is expanding your guys' home. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of you guys are focusing a lot on decorating in the month of May, focusing a lot on maybe even moving or buying a new home, expanding your home in some way. This could be renovations as well, because anytime we have the 4th house, being transited by Jupiter, this is a huge expansion in your home life happening in the month of May. So definitely be aware of that. That's happening as well. And with it being in the sign of Pisces, this is becoming really dreamlike. Like your dream life can really come to life in your home with whatever that you are seeking, whatever you are bringing into your life during the month of May is going to bring in more of that dreamlike energy into your home. So definitely be on the lookout for that as well, because we have a lot of those energies happening in the month of May. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. My Sagittarius babies, if you did, don't forget to give it a really big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below if you guys haven't already. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. All right, so my Capricorn babies, let's talk about what's happening for you guys in the month of May. So first off, let's start off by saying that for the past year, you guys have had the North Node transiting your guys' 6th house with the South Node transiting your guys' 12th house. So bringing up this at first to talk about these two nodes are going to be pretty heavily aspected in the month of May, which is why I wanted to bring the focus of them, because this is almost like closing out an old chapter and kind of like finalizing these energies that we've been like teeter-tottering with for the past year. So with the North Node being in the 6th house, this is you guys bringing a heavy focus towards your career, the things that you want to do with your life, the new routines and schedules that you've been kind of like trying to make for yourself. Because I think that with Capricorn, you guys, with the North Node being in your guys' 6th house for the past year, you guys have had this big desire to make a more finalized, more routine schedule for yourself, especially in regards to the goals that you want to attain in your life. You guys have been trying to solidify what it is that you want, moved more towards the purpose that you actually want to have, more towards the big goals in regards to career that you guys have wanted to create for yourself. You guys have been bringing the focus heavily towards that over the past year and realizing that maybe we need to change around our schedule a little bit more to be more accommodating of those big goals that we want to attain in our life, right? And also realizing the type of service that people want from us and like being of service to other people and providing what we want to do with our lives. So whatever career that you guys are working in, focusing on like how is that going to impact the planet and how do I want to, what is the footprint that I want to leave behind and things like that, okay? And so the South Node has been transiting your guys' 12th house. And this is like needing to let go of our old routines. You know, you guys have been planning on these new routines, but maybe there's old habits, old things that we feel stuck to, old things that we need to let go of that we've been hanging on to that have stopped us from maybe moving forward into this new career goal that we have, or these new other goals that we have that we've been wanting to attain for ourselves, right? Maybe this new life that you have had in mind for yourself. It's going to require new schedules and new routines in order to move into that new life, but maybe you guys are so used to your old way of living that it's been hard for you guys to transition into this new life, into this new area, because you've been so used to doing everything a certain way for such a long time. Maybe you guys are so deep into an old job that it's hard for you guys to change out into a new one, right? Because that's 12th house versus 6th house. It's like clinging on to our old habits, our old things that we're so used to, right? And realizing that maybe it's like, in order to change that, we need to really like solidify that and change it. And that's going to be really happening for you guys in the month of May. I feel like the month of May is going to really bring out this energy for you guys of realizing that's like, you guys are just like so done with the past and so ready to just move into the new future for you guys. So the month of May is like, we don't want the past anymore. We just want to like focus on moving into the space that we really want to be in, okay? So Capricorn, you guys are going through this, and this has been kind of the teeter-totter that's been happening over the past year. So in the month of May, we have Mercury moving over into this area, and this is going to help you guys really start to define a solid plan of how to get there and how to do that. It will take some refinement because we do have Mercury also going retrograde at the end of May on May 29th. It's going to retrograde over this area, so you guys will need to kind of like redefine this plan and refine this plan a little bit, because you might realize that the transition takes a little bit of time, but the fact that we have Mercury moving into the 6th house for you guys, it's helping you guys make the right connections in regards to your career as well, the right networking. You guys are meeting the right people during the month of May. You guys are going to be finally coming up with ideas and plans of execution of how to attain your goal, of how to start taking baby steps over there, and how to like, what is the next the next plan of action to take to attain this new goal, right? Okay, so that's going to be happening for you guys majorly during this time as well. And then we also have Venus moving over here. So this is heavily about like new relationships in this area, meeting new people. This can also be about bringing in abundance in this area. So I do think that finances have the ability to increase when we have Venus transiting the 6th house for you guys. It just brings out a lot of abundance, a lot of good energy and things like that. So it's like redefining how you want that area of your life to look and finally starting to move towards taking action to do that. And you guys do also have Jupiter moving into your guys' 3rd house. This is expanding friendships. If you guys have felt like friendships have not been expanding over the past little while, this is the time where friendships begin to expand, my love. So Jupiter moving into the 3rd house for you guys, Capricorn, this is an area of where we start to make new friends, we start to make new connections, and it could be the connections that you guys make over here is what's gonna help you guys move forward in what you want to do with your career. You could be making new connections in this area. There could be new events that get brought up that you guys get invited to and things like that with Jupiter moving into the 3rd house for you guys. And in the house of Pisces, this all comes up in a really unexpected way. This could come up through social media even, since Pisces is ruled by Neptune and Neptune does rule the media and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if you guys make new connections through that, new friendships coming into your life, new things, new people to communicate with, new ideas. Ideas are going to be expanding more than ever. It's just like if you guys have been having like a creative block at all, that's going away, baby. With Capricorn, that all fades away. That starts to come up, like the creativity just comes up so much when Jupiter's in the 3rd house, okay? This is a lot of creativity, especially with writing, speaking, things like that, anything to do with the voice, okay? There's gonna be a lot of abundance in that area and a lot of creativity in that area for you guys. So that's what I'm seeing for you guys, my Capricorn babies. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, hit that subscribe button down below if you guys wanna see more videos like this in the future, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. All right, so my Aquarius babies, let's talk about what's happening for you guys in the month of May. So first I want to bring up the fact that for the past year, you guys have had North Node transiting your guys' 5th house with the South Node transiting your guys' 11th house, okay? So this has been bringing out a certain type of energy for you guys, and these two nodes are going to be aspected in the month of May quite a bit. So I did want to bring up these ones to talk about in the month of May, because it's almost like closing out this old chapter and like really starting to implement and enter this new whole chapter of your life. So let's talk about what all that is. So the North Node being transiting your guys' 5th house for the past year, your soul has been urging you to move towards more of like having fun with your life, enjoying your life a little bit more. I think that you guys have been taking life so seriously in the past, especially since like South Node has been in your guys' 11th house, and you guys naturally are Aquarius, which is like the energy of the 11th house essentially. So you guys like to take life very seriously. You guys are like super smart. You guys focus on learning new things. You guys focus on worldly events. You guys are very connected to other people. You guys are just very connected to worldly things. You guys are just like incredibly smart, and you take life very seriously most of the time. But with North Node being in the 5th house, this has been urging you and calling you towards, let's take a break. You don't have to take life so seriously all the time. Let's have a little bit more fun. Start to enjoy life, start to get out a little bit more, start to have fun. This is also an area of dating. This is also an area of taking life a little bit less seriously and having a little bit more fun. This is implementing fun into your life, adding more excitement, adding a little bit of the spice into your life a little bit, okay, Aquarius? So North Node being over here, we do have Mercury entering this area for you guys. We have Mercury entering the 5th house for you guys. So this is expanding the type of people that you're talking to. This is expanding yourselves in having a little bit more fun with your communication. This is talking a little bit more about the fun and exciting things in your life rather than the old menial things that we used to talk about. This is just adding a little bit more spice, a little bit more pizzazz onto your communication, onto your way of thinking as well. This is lightening up your way of thinking heavily, okay? We're lightening it up, baby. We're making it a little bit more easy, a little bit more simple. It's finally time to have fun with the way that you're thinking, and just starting to enjoy yourself a lot more. This has been calling yourself to really start to enjoy yourself. Then we do also have Venus moving in here on May 8th. That's moving into your guys' 5th house. Venus is the planet of love. It is the planet of beauty and things like that, moving into your guys' 5th house of fun and dating and taking life in a more casual, exciting manner. Okay, so then we have Venus moving over here, which is going to add in a little bit more of excitement. It's going to probably spark romance in your life if you don't have that already. So Aquarius, that's another thing that's happening, and it's aligning with the North Node as well. So this is urging you to go into more of this destiny, right? And with Venus coming over here, this is have more fun with who you are. You know, bringing out that persona, bringing out that loving personality, bringing out that fun personality rather than like the serious personality that wants to talk about conspiracies or wants to talk about like, you know, all of the other like serious knowledge that you guys have acquired, because Aquariuses tend to like go in that direction a lot, right? But with North Node being in the 5th house, it's been urging you to go into more of like a fun direction. So you might notice yourself enjoying yourself a lot more, bringing the fun into it. And this is how you have like a 360 degree sort of like life, right? Is when you add in the aspects of all the little things. So you're not missing out on anything if you add in a little bit of that, right? So for this past year, that's been kind of what's happening. And with these 2 planets coming into this area, it's going to be bringing out a little bit more of that energy for you guys during the month of May. This is all about having fun. This is about being a little bit more in the spotlight as well, spotlighting your feelings, spotlighting your emotions. Venus also rules feelings, so it's spotlighting however you're feeling and being able to communicate about that, with Mercury transiting this area as well, because Mercury is all about communication. And then the South Node is going to be majorly aspected at the end of the month because we're having a full moon lunar eclipse on May 26th. And this is happening in your guys' 11th house. So this is closing out the old energies. This is happening in Sagittarius. So it's like, maybe we don't need to be such a perfectionist all the time. Maybe we don't need to constantly think about or take on the weight of the world, because you guys with the South Node over here, for this past year, you've been realizing that your natural habitat is taking on the weight of the world, or taking on other people's problems, or, you know, being super worldly and needing to focus on such big events. Like, you guys are so good at focusing on all the big picture and all like the big things, all the expansive, you know, things that we could focus on. But the North Node has been urging you guys to focus a little bit more on your own personal stuff for a little bit, because the 5th house is more personal stuff, whereas the 11th house is worldly stuff, right? So this lunar eclipse that's happening at the end of the month is like, let's close out focusing on the rest of the world for a bit, and let's enjoy your last bit of focusing with the North Node on your personal life. This is heavily focusing on your personal life, okay, my love? So that's what we have going on over there. We also do have Jupiter moving into Pisces in the middle of May, and this is entering your guys' 2nd house. So this is going to bring in a wild amount of more abundance into your life, okay? So Jupiter in Pisces in the 2nd, Jupiter, anytime it's transiting the 2nd house, brings in more income, brings in more abundance, brings in more career opportunities. And this is happening around May 13th for you guys. It's gonna be transiting here for a little while. So it's gonna be here for a bit. So this is increasing a lot of your material world. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys start to make bigger purchases, expanding your life materially and monetarily. So definitely enjoy it, my Aquarius babies. I'm sending you guys all my love, and I hope you guys have an amazing month of May. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below if you guys want to see more videos like this. And if so, I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye. All right, so Pisces, my loves, welcome to your portion of today's video, this little horoscope that we're doing. So for you guys, we have, for this past year, we've had North Node transiting your guys' 4th house, with the South Node transiting your guys' 10th house. So this has been the energies of the past year. And these 2 nodes are gonna be aspected quite a bit in the month of May. So we're gonna be talking about what sort of energy that's bringing out. It's like kind of like closing out an old chapter for you guys. And, the fact that we've had the North Node in the 4th house for you guys for the past year, this is like finding out where you really feel comfortable, where you want your home to be, how you want your home to be. The North Node being in the 4th house is bringing attention on family and home life for the whole past year for you guys. We also have Mercury going into this area. Mercury is going into Gemini, which is your 4th house, in the month of May. And so Mercury coming over here, this is expanding the amount that you're probably talking to your family. It's going to bring in more communication with your family in the month of May. This is going to bring in like more conversation, more home life stuff, or like bringing conversation around home life in some sort of way. So maybe even if some of you guys don't talk to your family, this could be bringing focus towards your home life in some way. So this could be making new plans with your home life. Venus is also going to be moving here on May 8th, and this is bringing in, maybe some of you guys will get to a desire or a passion to kind of like redecorate certain things around your home, sort of redo some certain things around your home. Venus is also the planet of love, so this could be about bringing in more love to your family life and wanting to do a little bit more and see a little bit more of your family, communicate with them, show more love, have more harmony, more things like that with Venus moving over here as well. You might hear from your family more, and they might be giving you more affection than what you're used to during the month of May, since Venus is going to be transiting this area for you guys, and this is going to be all about communication since it is in the sign of Gemini, okay? And then with the South Node being in the 10th house in the sign of Sagittarius, this is sort of like bringing your focus away from the like big goals that maybe you guys have had in the past or things like that, or like making a lot of money, bringing away your focus from those sorts of things and kind of bringing your focus and your attention more towards your home life, what you want out of your home, how you want to create more of like a comfortable, like family sort of like space for yourselves, for you guys to feel connected in that area. Okay, so we're bringing in more connection towards your personal home life or family home life. I know some people don't talk to their family, so it could be just more of your home life stuff focus, if that's the case. If some of you guys do talk to your family, it's bringing out more of that energy as well, where you guys will find yourselves thinking about them a lot during the month of May, and then closing out those old energies of the 10th house. We do also have a major eclipse, full moon eclipse happening at the end of the month in the sign of Sagittarius. That's going to be happening in your guys' 10th house. So this is like closing out old work cycle chapters, old chapters that deal with climbing the ladder in certain ways, or closing out old chapters of, you know, constantly needing to get to the top of something, constantly needing to make everything about busyness, about schedule, about like climbing to the next goal of yours. Because maybe you guys have been so focused for the past bit, and something that you rely on is like climbing up the ladder, getting stuff done, focusing on schedules, being really busy, making sure you get all of it done. Whereas the North Node is bringing you towards focusing more on relaxing. Like the 4th house is all about relaxing. This is about self-care. This is about your home life, feeling comfortable, self-nurture. This is about a time where you guys are being called to self-nurture more and to spend more time with the people that you love, rather than constantly needing to climb to the next thing, climb to the next thing, and climb to the next thing. And again, it will affect each of you differently depending on the other things that you have going on in your chart, but this is just one of the aspects that we've been noticing coming up if you are Pisces, because these are the transits that we kind of have happening around here, okay? Then we do also have Jupiter moving into Pisces, which is moving into your guys' 1st house. So this is going to be you guys defining more about who you are and finding out more about who you are. Okay, so Jupiter, which is actually one of the traditional rulers of Pisces, moving into your guys' sign. This is almost moving into its home sign for you guys. This is going to be expanding more about who you are, more about who you want to be, the dream that you have for yourself, because Pisces is all about the dream life, right? And in the 1st house, this is like, what does your dream self look like? What does that life look like? What would you be doing on a daily basis? How would you visualize that? How would you imagine that? And this is all about imagination too, right? Because Pisces is all about the imagination and the creativity that's in there, right? So if you could write any book and map out how you'd want your life to be, what would that look like? And Jupiter's going to be expanding that over the next little while, okay? So it enters there in May. So this is like the entryway point of like, what do I want? If I could paint a picture of what my life would look like, what would it look like, right? And so we're kind of like planning this out and like mapping out these things in the month of May for you guys. So with all these transits happening, this is a heavy focus on self-nurture, focusing more on the self rather than attaining all the big goals, and then reimagining who you are and being imaginative and creative about who you want to be and starting to implement that, starting to expand that. And this is expanding a lot of self-awareness, a lot of self-growth, and stepping into that new version of you and like defining yourself further, and almost putting like, you're redefining yourself almost in the month of May, okay? We're entering the time of like redefinition of who you are. So that is what's happening for you guys in the month of May. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button down below if you guys want to see more videos like this in the future. And if so, I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.